Hello, David speaking.
David, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing, Lochlin?
Excellent. David you're a co-owner, right?
That's right.
Of the Transit Smokehouse and Barbecue. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Transit Hotel is back.
It lives.
It lives. And it was resurrected by David and his partner. Listen, one of the things that I think we can start with is, have you regretted starting a business in the pandemic?
Well, that's a very loaded question. Hindsight's always 2020. There's certainly some things we would have done differently. I think, looking back, I wouldn't say I regret it. It was a huge investment. Perhaps the timing wasn't perfect, but but I mean, in the end, we were starting this before the pandemic started, and I don't think anyone really thought or had fathomed at all that things would have continued for this long, as far as lockdowns and restrictions, and even in the midst of all of this, I don't think too many people predicted rampant inflation right at the end too. I guess it makes sense. Very similar to the Roaring '20s. Folks went out and started spending money as soon as the war ended, right? So it's very, very similar, I think, to what's going on right now. Perhaps we have other issues that we're grappling with too. Politically around the world, war and food shortages. So yeah, we and then of course increasing money supplied by the governments, right? So we've it's been a bit of a perfect storm. But I wouldn't say I regret it. I grew up in Northeast Edmonton, and I think I was very sad to see this building over the last few years after it shut down, and perhaps a little bit before that too. The buildings start to degrade, and the city has been trying very hard to revitalize that area since I was in high school. I remember I was a student at East Glen, not far from the transit, in 2004 when they started tearing down the buildings on the south end of Fort Road, and I guess they were hoping that they could put expensive condos there, and it just wasn't working out. But it is starting to pick up again, and that's a great thing, right?
Yeah.
And we're happy to be part of it. I think on one hand, it was very difficult for us to open a restaurant. Not many people were. Sometimes I felt foolish, but not many people were doing that, right? And we weren't planning for it, but it became a bit of a feel-good story during the pandemic, and we got a fair bit of news coverage during that time. So
yeah, that's good.
I guess, yeah, we certainly benefited from that. And it's the food tastes great, and we're trying to embrace our history as much as we can. We have all historic photos lining the walls of the building, and there's little fun facts and blurbs that are there too. I think in the pandemic people were apprehensive about wandering around and checking it out, but certainly it's starting to pick up a little bit more, and that's really the way that we designed it. We wanted to treat it as a mini museum. We found little, you could even say artifacts flying around in the basement when we were cleaning up, and like old wagon wheels, horse collars, and
anything you had to call the police about.
Oh, we didn't find Jimmy Hoffa yet. But we actually have a portion of the basement where they used to store coal for the boiler, which, by the way, the boiler still runs to keep the building warm.
Get out of here.
Probably in the 40s, 50s, 60s, they switched it over to natural gas, but it's still the original, I think, built in 1905 boiler in Mississauga, Ontario. I mean, I'm a power engineer. I work with boilers for a living. That was pretty cool for me to see, and something that I really like to show off. But yeah, the area that we used to store coal is, folks that live in a home that's over 100 years old. They might see this in their basement, but it's not very common these days where it's a dirt dugout. So like you're standing on 100-year-old dirt, and Yeah, like I said, no bodies or anything yet. But we found a lot of really cool artifacts. I mean, we found I mean, there's no date on it, so we really couldn't see how old it is. But a lumberjack saw that. I mean, I don't know any reason why a lumberjack saw would be there other than for when it was built, right? So there's a lot of really cool stuff that we're trying our best to embrace, and people are really buying into it. And we were doing quite well at first when we were allowed to open. You know, I guess we don't have a really strong basis of comparison for what things were like before the restriction exemption program started, because we opened that day that it started in I think it was September 20th. And we did have a steady increase, and we were actually doing quite well, and we might have even been eking out a profit in November, December. We had one event with a musician that's very well known in the local blues community. His name was Harp Dog Brown. He had an event in early December, and we had lineups at the door for that.
You guys are doing a lot of live music too, right?
Yeah, we were. We slowed it down a little bit. We were doing it every night. Just, you know, unfortunately, I think our focus right now is providing a good value for the good food that we're serving. And, you know, I think right now we can't afford to do it every night, especially if less folks are eating out. If business picks up again, which we're hoping maybe that the press that we've got lately talking about inflation and how restaurants are struggling right now, maybe we'll bring back music again. We really want to.
Nice.
We had a special live music event on Father's Day, and for our 114th birthday in early September, we're planning to do something as well. So right now it's becoming a little bit of a special occasion, but we're hoping to bring it back every night again.
Perfect.
So no more gerbil races?
Well, it's actually in our lease, no animals. But
it actually says that on their website too. No gerbil races.
Our landlord, I think he put that there as a little bit of a joke.
Yeah.
It was actually his parents that ran the transit when they had the gerbil races. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I guess it was a bit of a traveling show, and for some reason the transit got that reputation for it. Perhaps because they advertised for it. But yeah, we looked so hard to find a photo of that. But I guess, you know, in the 90s,
it'll pop up. At some point, it'll pop up, David.
We found one.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, that's
good.
what I was leading to that. So folks didn't have their cell phones in the 90s, I guess, to take a photo of it, and I think bringing a professional camera into a bar
was holding gerbil races may have not been a thing.
Well, we found one from, I think it was a 1991 Edmonton Journal, and we put that on our wall too.
Wow. Fantastic. Hey, listen, David, we have to let you go, but we appreciate your time today. Good luck. There's a lot of people in this town that are cheering for you guys, and if you haven't done so, you may want to make your way down to the Transit Smokehouse and Barbecue. I've been hearing good things about the barbecue that you guys are providing there. So word is out there, my friend. Keep it going.
Hey, thank you so much, Lochlin.